I want to bring up my next speaker. Are you all ready? Yeah. Okay. My next speaker is going to be up for just a short period to share. He's graced us with his presence today, and we wanted to include him. Really excited about it. Les Adkins, known by many as Zig Ziglar, the Zig Ziglar of social media. How many of y'all realize that social media? How many of y'all know about social media? So raise your hands. How many of y'all know that the internet, you guys know the internet, right? Don't worry, I don't think the internet's going to stick around too long. Don't worry about it. But, just kidding. You got to know it. And if you don't know it, you need to learn from experts like this. And Les Adkins helps businesses bridge the gap between old corporate and tech-savvy business models. How many of y'all would say to yourself that you're not really totally tech-savvy? Would you agree with that, yes or no? Okay, so learning the experts from experts is amazing. Adkins, he's interviewed by ABC, by NBC, by CBS, by so many letters that I can't even, Fox, there you go. Major publications, international speaker, just came back, I'm gonna not steal his thunder, he's gonna tell you where he just came back from. He's all over the place. Istanbul, I believe, is the last place he went. And he works with Fortune 500 companies and leaders, helping them develop a digital strategy. Will you give a warm welcome to Les Adkins? Come on up, Les. High five, brother.
Hi, so up here you'll see this is called a hashtag. It's not a number sign with a word beside it. It's just called a hashtag. And what I want you to do, for those of you who have smartphones, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute, I want you to use this hashtag, Lifestyle Achievement Summit, and we're going to see if we can get it trending by the end of the day, all right? So even after you leave here, still use this hashtag and talk about the event that you had. So I'm not sure why. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So now that I blew all your ears out. So I'm going to start with a Zig Ziglar quote. I'm going to read this quote to you. So you can make positive deposits in your own economy every day by reading and listening to powerful, positive, life-changing content, and by associating with encouraging and hope-building people. And that's exactly what all of you all, I can say y'all because I'm still in the South. So all of you all can do that, and that's why you're here today. And so what I want you to do is I want everybody with a smartphone to raise it in the air. Everybody raise it in the air. All right. Now, look around. Everybody, keep it up there. Keep it up there. Everybody look around. Now, keep your phones up if you own a tablet or an iPad or something of that nature. Everybody look around. This year, GSMA, a mobile association, they statistically said that there are more mobile connections in the world than people. Isn't that crazy? So, if you're not doing digital, you can put your phones down now. Thank you, sir. If you're not doing digital strategy and mobile strategy, then you're not reaching your audience and reaching your customers. So we're going to talk today about influence as a whole brain approach and how to build influence in the digital world. How many people want to know how to build influence in the digital world? All right, so half the room, the others of you, I'm sure that you'll be paying attention once you wake up, right? Just kidding. All right, so that's the only joke I have, so, all right? Don't worry. So, one of the things we're going to talk about, 4 different things today. We're going to talk about your vast social network, the digital environment. We're going to talk about Cialdini principles of influence. And we're also going to talk about the whole brain approach. And last, we're going to talk about building influence. Now, I actually wrote this whole talk between my trips. I did go to Istanbul. That's not the last place I went to. Unfortunately, it wasn't that exciting. The last place I went to, which I got back in town from Friday, was Raleigh, North Carolina. So not Istanbul, but I have been to Istanbul, and I actually partnered with a company in Australia. If you ever get a chance to go to Australia, go. I got to spend 6 weeks there. And so, let's get started. Your digital environment. So every one of you has vast social network, right? You're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you've got Google+, you've got Instagram. We are bombarded by our vast network. People have 10,000 friends. There are some people that actually even have 200,000 friends. So we're bombarded by this vast social network. We also have billion apps, billions of apps. So can you say that we're going to probably stay pretty busy on our phones, right? Your customers are also busy on their phones. So how do you break through this noise? How do you break through this noise called digital noise, right? So you probably heard things like join the conversation, you gotta engage with your audience, you gotta monitor who's talking about you out there. And I'm not negating any of that, it all works. But there's one thing that's missing. And what that is how do you work through the noise? Well, we're gonna get you to think outside of the box a little bit. And the way to work through the noise is influence. Why do you have to have it? How do you get it? And how do you keep it? Something you guys are interested in?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So let's get started. Cialdini Principles Influence. There's a gentleman by the name of Dr. Robert Cialdini, and he wrote a book called Influence of Science and Persuasion. And in that book, he talks about 6 principles. The principles are social proof, commitment and consistency, authority, reciprocity, liking, and scarcity. So we're going to talk about each one of these, and this is a great way to quickly get someone on your side and to say yes. So social proof. Social proof, where people will do things that they see other people do. Think about the last time you were actually going down the road and you were actually looking for a restaurant to go to. You come across 2 restaurants, one on each side. One has a ton of cars in the parking lot. The other one has no cars in the parking lot. Where are you most likely going to go eat? The one that has cars in the parking lot, because that's social proof that that probably is better food. Whether it is or not, you're going to attend that restaurant. The next one, commitment and consistency. People have a tendency to commit, when they commit orally or in writing, to be hold that commitment more closely because it fits their ideal self-image. So if you can get someone to commit to making an appointment with you or commit to doing business with you, something of that nature, then they're more likely to do that based on their self-image. The next one, reciprocity. Reciprocity is people tend to return a favor. That's where buying drinks for people came from. That's where buying dinner for people came from, buying lunches. We do that in hopes that they'll reciprocate and do business with us. That's why businesses take their clients to events like football games, they take their clients to events like the PGA golf tours, those type of things. Reciprocity. Liking. Everyone's heard that people do business with people they like. You all have heard that, right? Right? So, people do business with people they like. Now, I kind of added my own thinking. Because, think about it from this perspective. People do business with people they like, but in our world today, they also do business with people they trust. Now, there are several people that I like that I don't so much trust. So you gotta have both. You have liking and trust. The next one is authority. We generally listen to those and the advice of those that we perceive as credible authorities. If you can get authority over someone, chances are you'll get what you want. And there are several ways to do that, but we don't have time to go into them right now. Scarcity. Perceived scarcity will generate demand. Now, do you think that Apple has the capability to manufacture an iPhone for every single person that wants one the minute they come out with a new phone? Yes. The answer is yes, they have that capability. Why don't they? Because of scarcity. They want those lines in front of those stores that also shows social proof. But think of Black Friday. We just went through Black Friday, right? Why do people camp out at Best Buy, those different electronic stores? Why do they camp out? I'd rather be eating turkey myself, but why do they camp out? For those of you who do Black Friday, bless you. You're a better person than I am. But why do they do that? Because they have so few specials. That is the scarcity principle in practice. So now let's talk about whole brain approach. There was a gentleman by the name of Ned Herman. And Ned Herman developed this whole brain model in the 1970s. And several companies use this whole brain approach. Coca-Cola, Microsoft. Actually, Herman International takes care of 90% of the Fortune 100. And I'm going to take this name tag off because it just keeps flapping in the wind and it's kind of bothering me. So, all right. So we're going to talk briefly today about the whole brain model. We're going to go through the different quadrants. By the way, back in our booth, we are actually taking a drawing to give away 4 of these books. You got to be present to win. the Whole Brain Business Book. And it talks all about what I'm getting ready to talk about, that Ed Herman actually wrote, and it's been designed and reissued with up-to-date information. So let's get into it. There are 4 quadrants. The high blue, or A quadrant. This person is very analytical, quantitative. They use words like effective, strategic. Their environment, if you go to look in their office, will be very sparse. It'll be very utilitarian. It'll look like they either got fired from the job or they just started. But they'll have charts of graphs in it. They'll have charts of graphs. How to communicate to someone with a high blue is you have to tell them what the end result is. Tell them the numbers that are involved, the analysis that you do. That's how to talk to a high blue. Next, we have high green. High green, or high B, they're very organized, very detail-oriented people. They actually, their environment is a place for everything and everything in its place. Everybody see Office Space, or remember Office Space, the stapler guy?
Yeah.
He was a high green extreme. He was a high green extreme. So also, high greens use words like proven, process. They're the ones that say things like, if it's not broke, why fix it? So if you're going to talk to a high green, you need to talk about the process. You need to tell them what you're going to do, the time that it's going to take for you to do it, the amount of time, where you're going to meet them, and how you're going to approach the day. It's the agenda items. The next one is high red. Now high red, they are very into people. They like people, they're very emotional, they're very creative. They also have an environment where they have stuffed animals. I'm sure you've seen those cubicles, right? Stuffed animals or those basketball hoops that they have on the desk. Those are usually high red people. And also, the way to talk to them is talk about the people. Tell them what you know about them. Tell them what you know about the people that work for them. They're concerned with the people around them. The next and last one is high yellow. High yellow, they're very big picture. They don't like a lot of detail. They want the big picture, they want the end result. They don't care how you get there, just the end result. The words they use are like, why? Give me the big picture. 500,000, 50,000 foot level, 10,000 foot level. Now, has anyone had someone tell you that? If they're high level, here's the interesting thing. They really don't care. 500, 50, 10, it's all the same to them. A high green is trying to give them detail, and if you watch that conversation, give me a 500,000 foot level. Give me a 50,000 foot level. That'll be 2 conversations. So a high yellow, like, just give me the big picture. So that is the whole brain approach. And it's about thinking preferences. And thinking preferences just are. They aren't gender specific. They aren't good or bad. They're how we make decisions, how you make decisions. Now here's the thing you need to listen to if you haven't been listening to me up till now. Everybody down raise attention? So keep in mind, I want everyone to hear this. No one will ever adapt to your thinking preference. You must adapt to theirs. Now, it's kind of like this. Everybody knows that person that you just meet and click with right away? That means you have a very similar thinking preference. Now, there's that other person that if you walked in the room, you'd probably stay in the back so they wouldn't see you. If they're here, don't look at them. Okay? Don't look at them. But that person can't hold a conversation. They're literally the stupidest person you've ever met in your entire life. Everybody have one of those? Well, I got news for you. They're not stupid. They can't hold a conversation. And I just think we're the fan. Listen, I don't know the fan. And also, they just have probably the opposite thinking preference of you. So the next time you're having a conversation, remember that guy, Les Adkins, that spoke at the Lifestyle of Achievement Summit and say, you know what, maybe they're not stupid. Maybe actually I'm not talking in their language. I'm not speaking in their language. All right, let's move on to building influence. The key thing that you want to know, right? How do you build influence in this vast digital world that we have? Well, there's several ways to do it. One of the big ways is, according to Dory Clark, who's a Forbes, she writes for Forbes. So you have to get that over. She writes for Forbes. She says that you have to, first step is to shorten or make your connection smaller. Okay? Make the number of connections you have a little bit smaller. She also took from How to Be a Power Connector, a lady named, and I'll always forget her name, so I'll leave my name, Judy Robinette, suggests that you should spend a disproportionate amount of time on your top 50 connections. Now let me ask you a question. How many of you have more than 50 connections? Okay. If you have more than 50 connections, how many of those people add value to your life or your business? You don't have to raise your hand, but think about it. So in order to build influence, you need to do several things. You need to spend time connecting and building influence with that small group. The next thing you need to do is use the Cialdini principles for short-term influence. You remember what they are? We've got liking, authority, scarcity, reciprocity, social proof, and commitment and consistency. Then, we also have to make sure that we are speaking to them in their language. I just said that, right? So imagine if you've gone to Brazil. By the way, how many of you have been to Brazil? Anybody been to Brazil? Several of you. Okay, great. So I've been to Brazil. I did not speak their language. They speak Portuguese. I speak English. Their Portuguese is kind of like our Spanglish, so even if I knew Spanish, they still would not have understood. It's the same thing when you're speaking to someone who has a different thinking preference than you. You have to speak in their language. Last but not least, so what did we learn? Through your vast connections, you have to work through the noise. Then also, use the Cialdini principles. The science of influence allows you to connect in an influential way very quickly. And then we learned about the whole brain approach. Speak to them from their language and take a whole brain approach by adapting to their thinking preference because they're not going to adapt to yours. And last, what we learned is that build influence by creating a smaller, more powerful network that will add value to your business or life. So the next time someone comes up to you and asks you to build influence a digital network and asks you to connect with them, really think about it. Do they add value to my network? Here's the way to contact me. We also have the table back there. By the way, we have a few more of these if you didn't get an orange stress ball. Who didn't win something? Who was the lady that he did not get something? Is that you? That he didn't get something to? He healed over there instead and gave it to her?
I never.
Who was that? Okay. Here, well, I'm going to give you this. Oh, nice.
Good luck with her.
Thank you for your time. By the way, don't forget hashtag Lifestyle Achievement Summit, and pay attention 2015. There'll be a new hashtag coming out, Orange Social. We're going to spend a lot of time on it. Thank you for your time. Hope you have a great evening. Sharon's up next, so thank you very much.
Guys, give it up for Les. What's up, man? Woo! Les, you gave your